Hey guys, welcome to the Superhero Cut Show where we're talking about things Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. It's your boy Stevie Hayes. Please like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you know when we post. So today, as you see from my background, I'm here today to talk to you guys about Agatha because the first two episodes just dropped. So I wanted to give a breakdown of the first episode, and then we're also going to get another breakdown of the second episode. So let's get into Agatha episode one. I'll break it down and I'll give you my opinion on it. So the episode starts with Agnes, aka Agatha. Okay, we're going to call her Agnes right now, humming and driving into a crime scene. She gets out of her car and talks to her colleague at the crime scene. She says, she says that she punched a suspect and was suspended for a while. She said her police chief wanted her back on this case, and she is told that a Jane Doe was found dead near the water. The only thing that the Jane Doe had on her was a library card from the Westview branch. Now, we all know that the Westview, anything with the word Westview is from WandaVision season 1. And they said that the cause of death was blunt force trauma. And they also told Agnes that she was crushed, okay, hinting to Wanda's death in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Because if you guys don't know, the way that she died is, a really big, like temple, like literally crashed onto her. So that's why, they said, that she was crushed. And then Agnes then asked her colleague, is she dead? And then she ends up saying, you never know. Basically, I think giving fans that question of, is Wanda still alive? Is it possible for her to come back to life? Because there's been a big rumor that Wanda is going to get resurrected in this show, which makes it very interesting. And we then see the hooded dead body that AKA is Wanda. The one thing we see is the darkened fingers, which hints to Wanda's fingers from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, if you don't know, when a witch's fingers are black, it means that they are corrupted by the dark hole and that they have possession of it. And we then see Agnes pick up a pin that was in like a puddle, and then she hides it in her pocket. So her colleagues do not know that she found a piece of evidence. They then roll around the dead body, but us as watchers, we don't see the face, mostly because Elizabeth Olsen didn't film in this show at all, as of what we know. So they didn't show her face. But it is hinting again to Wanda being dead. So we obviously do not see her face because they want to keep that mystery of who is it. But as a fan, it's Wanda. Agnes then is sad about the dead body, but she doesn't understand why. Now, if you do not know, Agnes is under a spell by Wanda, and this spell was cast at the end of WandaVision season 1. If you wanna know where that happens, just rewatch the last episode, which is fire. We then see Agatha walk into a library, and she gives the librarian the library card that the dead body had, just to see if she could find anything about it. Now, when the librarian does her research, right, we find out that the book title that is attached to this library card is called Dialogue and Rhetoric, known history of learning of debate. But the book was stolen, and the librarian told Agnes that there are more copies in whatever aisle it is. Now, if you do not know, Wanda stole that book in Agatha from Agatha in WandaVision season 1, and that book is the Dark Code. So if this is making sense, you get it, right? So Agnes then goes to the place where she was told that the copies were, and we see that the whole section got burnt up. Okay. And this is probably from Wanda covering her tracks. I think she went back and burnt it all up, or maybe someone else did, because we see a guy whisper to Agnes through like the library shelves that every last copy was destroyed. And I think that guy could pop up again. Now, some people were trying to say that that's Mephisto. I'm not going down that road. And that's that. So we then see Agnes go to pop up at the police station, and we see Agnes, talking to her boss, and he told her that the soil in the dead body that they found, the soil in the hands does not match the soil that she's lying in, because obviously she didn't die there because it's freaking Wanda. And they said that, that the soil that they found on her traced back to Eastern Europe because that's where the temple was that fell on top of her. Then we get introduced to this random person named Agent Vidal. Okay, now this is Aubrey Plaza's character, which is big news because we finally get to see her in the show. And apparently, she is a federal agent, and her and Agnes have some type of beef. Agnes is mad and feels that Agent Vidal is trying to take control of her investigation. Then we hear Agent Vidal say, is this really how you see yourself? Now, she is obviously trying to get to Agatha, but the spell that Agatha is under is just too strong, okay? And Agnes is not catching on at all to the little quips that she's saying. They then end up talking about the case, discussing how this random body ended up in their town, and Vidal then tried to give another hint to Agatha, saying she magically appeared, and Agatha was like, "Let's talk about reality." Hinting just more and more that this spell that Agnes is under is so strong, and she literally hasn't like jumped out of it at all. So we see Agent Vidal has been asking her all these weird questions and hinting to something else, and Agnes got annoyed and just kicked her out of her office, right? So Agnes then has her friend Norm, who works at I think it's a pawn shop. He looks at the pendant that she picked up, or the locket, and she found that it is something kind of expensive. And when the pendant was open, there was a hair in it. Okay, and we then see Agnes. She takes it back, and she goes into her empty house, and she's looking at a kid's room, and we see a name that says Nicholas Scratch. Now, if you do not know, Nicholas Scratch is the son of Agatha. So we have yet to see him in anything. I'm not sure if that's just an Easter egg, or we are actually going to see Nicholas Scratch pop up in this show, which would just be very interesting. And then we hear a door knock, and when she goes to open up the door, it is Agent Vidal again. She's at the door with a box of pizza, just talking about, yo, let's socialize. So they didn't have a convo, and she started talking to Agent Vidal about the case, and Agent Vidal said something where she was like, that's not why I'm here, and it's like, so why are you here? But anyways, so then she's another thing. She's asking weird questions again. She asked Agnes, has she traveled? And Agnes couldn't answer because she just doesn't remember. And so then Agent Vidal quickly switches subjects. Then Agent Vidal asked Agnes this. She said, do you remember why you hate me? And Agnes said no, just pointing to the fact that something's going on. And so then we hear a bunch of commotion upstairs, and she catches someone in her room, and the guy runs away. Agnes ends up chasing after him, and the guy that was trying to maybe rob stuff in Agnes's house, he ends up getting hit by a car, and she catches him. Agnes then goes in the police station to interrogate this robber, and she asked him what he's looking for, and obviously this teenager started throwing shots at her. She hits him, and then Agnes like threatens him under her breath, saying, like, I'm dangerous. She then asked him, what he was after. And he said the road. And obviously, when he says the road, if you guys don't know, this is talking about the witch's road. Okay. And we see that his hands are black, just like Wanda's hands on her dead body. Now, is this teenager, aka, well, we're not going to talk about who he is, but does this teenager, is he fooling with the Darkhold? Was he fooling with it somehow? Was he trying to go back in time and mess with the Darkhold? Who freaking knows? But it is very interesting that we, got to see that. Agnes then asked the teen, where was he at between 1 and 3 a.m.? And so then he was like, I was asleep. And she's like, you're lying. And Agnes then put up photos of this dead body, and the photo ended up turning into flowers. Like he didn't see a dead body at all. And then Agnes then looks back at the screen where Agent Vidal was sitting, and she's gone. And where Agent Vidal was, now it's a painting showing in that room. Okay. And then we hear the teen talking in Latin, and I'm pretty sure it's a spell that he's casting, or he was in a trance. I'm not necessarily sure what was going on. So Agnes freaks out. She ends up going to the morgue, and I'm pretty sure she has this kid like in her trunk or something. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure this kid's like unconscious, but she ends up going to the morgue to make sure that she saw the body and that she's not tripping. And when Agnes gets there, we end up seeing the dead body, and it basically confirms that it is Wanda Maximoff, because we end up seeing the red hair. And then when we grab the little sheet where it shows the name of the dead body, we see Wanda Maximoff's name appear. And we then see Agent Vidal say that Wanda is dead, and the Darkhold is also dead with her, and that Agnes is trapped in Wanda's distorted spell. We then see Agnes start to take off her clothes, and we see every spell Wanda has put on her, and we see her changing out of all of the characters that she was in WandaVision season 1, and she's clawing her way back to herself. Agnes then looks at the name tag, and she sees Agatha Harkness, saying like, yo, this is who you are, right? And and this is pointing to the fact that Agatha is finally back. So we then see Agatha finally back at home, and she's standing naked in her house, and she screams, and then she walks outside naked, just yelling, and she has a super aggressive combo with her neighbor, which is like, it's like, okay. And then and so she finds out, she was stuck in a spell for 3 years. She realized that she was like a cop slash detective, and then she walks back into her house, and then she tries to summon magic, and obviously it does not work because Wanda and WandaVision season one drained her of all of her magic. She then goes to her basement, and obviously it's empty. There's no witchy stuff going on, and the only thing that is there is her rabbit Mister, and she's at least happy to see him. So then she says to her rabbit, I need to get back on top, aka I need my power back. We then hear a thump in her closet, and it is obviously the teen, and his mouth was taped and he's like locked up in the closet. And when she talks to him, we then see a massive entrance from who we thought was Agent Vidal, but is actually a witch, and her name is Rio Vidal. Okay. And she tries to stab Agatha in the chest because obviously she's been plotting for revenge. Because if you don't know, Agatha is pretty much like she was basically untouchable because she had the dark hold. And she was probably doing wild stuff, this whole time. So people probably are lining up for revenge. And so they then get into a fight. Agatha wins the fist fight, and we learned that for some reason they can't kill each other. Maybe it's like a witch's code or something. Not necessarily sure. And Agatha basically convinced her, like let me get my power back, and then how about let's spin the block when I'm at full power. And Rio then tells Agatha that the Salem Seven will be coming at her. Now, the Salem Seven are seven magical beings, and they can turn into creatures with their own magical abilities. And you can tell that Agatha was kind of shook when that name, the Salem Seven, were brought up. So that's Agatha episode one. Now, my reaction or my thoughts on Agatha episode one. Now, the way I feel about Agatha is like I don't think it's trash, but I don't know if I like it. And I just say that because I feel the absence of Wanda Maximoff in this show. And to me, y'all, it feels like the role that Agatha is playing, Wanda Maximoff should be playing. You know what I mean? And if you just replace those two right there, the show would be perfect. And I think there will be more meaning because obviously this teen is obviously Billy, who is Wanda's son. I feel like there would have been some emotion there. So you can feel the emptiness of Wanda, and that doesn't mean that that Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza are acting terribly, because they're not. I think they are doing a good job. It's just that with the buildup that we had, right, with Wanda Vision season one, and then we get Doctor Strange. It just feels like Wanda needs to be in here, and so that's just how I felt with this episode. It's just the absence, but as an episode, it's not bad. I mean, she was caught up in her spell. She ended up clawing back. I thought that was cool. I liked the cool little fight scene that they had. I mean, it wasn't a bad episode, and it intrigued me to watch the second episode, which I'm going to be covering next. So I would love to hear what you guys think of Agatha episode one. As I said, where I'm at, I don't think it's bad, but I'm not sure if I entirely like it. Like it's watchable. That's and there you should have higher standards, right? Because we should expect more from Marvel Studios, but it's at least watchable in my opinion. So I would love to hear what you guys think about Agatha episode one, and if you thought that it was at least kind of interesting. And I will also want to hear, what do you guys think? Like, do you think Wanda's coming back or not? Because I think that this show is setting that up, that in the ending Wanda Maximoff will show up. So love to hear what you guys have to say. Please like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell, and peace out.